Is New York City even worth living in 2023?
We're here with Action Kid.
That graffiti is better.
Express train. The next stop is...
My love-hate relationship for this city is stronger than it has ever been before. And that is because it is crowded, it is expensive, and it's dirty. But then, on the other hand, it's just like there's so many fun things to do here. My friends and my family are here, and there's endless opportunities. Let me show you what I mean. So in 2021, I had a baby and my life changed completely in New York City. It was no longer going out all the time, hanging out with my friends, doing whatever I wanted. Suddenly I had to take care of Bella, which I love her, but it is a completely different situation now that I have kids. Let's start with number one, the price of daycare. In Long Island City, our local daycare costs $2,700 a month, and that only includes 3 days a week. So we're forced to have Bella here in our own daycare, which brings me to my next point, which is it is very difficult living with a baby in a small space. So there's not a lot of space in the apartment, and we've kind of consolidated everything to this small corner here for Bella. But that pretty much means that this is it, and she doesn't have her own room. We move her crib around constantly. But on a positive note, Bella gets to grow up in one of the most diverse, amazing cities in the entire world with amazing access to healthcare and education. But with that, today we are filming a video, so I'm gonna bring you along with me. I have to actually bring Bella with me today because we do not have childcare today, which means I have to bring her on the subway, which is always a challenge. The struggle with that is the subway is not accessible. Only 25% is, which means going on the subway with a stroller is a freaking nightmare.
These elevators are so disgusting and almost no stations have them, so we have to completely coordinate our route based on what stations have elevators, which aren't a lot. It adds a ton of time to the commute. There was no elevator in that subway exit, but luckily a man offered to help me carry Bella in her stroller up the stairs. And that's one of the good things about New York. People are always willing to help you, but at the same time, they should have elevators at every station. Today we're filming a video on the most iconic foods in the city. Ken's coming along with me. If you don't know Ken, he's known as Action Kid online, and you do walks all throughout New York and all around the world, really. You grew up here, right?
Yeah.
What are some of the reasons you love New York?
Well, one, because there's so many diverse cultures here and like endless food options, to be honest. And it's so easy to get around with the subway too.
One of the reasons that I love New York is the variety of the food here. I mean, we have, I believe it's 68 Michelin-starred restaurants last time I checked.
Oh my gosh.
I know, which is one of the highest in the world, the cities with the largest amount in the world. And then there's just so many different varieties of food. You live in Astoria, which is known for its variety of food.
Yep.
There's always something exciting going on here. And which makes me like very torn about leaving because I talk to like other people that live outside of New York, and then like their average night, there's not as much to do.
I know.
You know, like here, you can literally, you name it, you wanna go jousting? You can go jousting, I'm not kidding. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
You can do jousting here in New York. We're on our way to the next spot that we're featuring in the food guide, which is Kat's Deli. And the thing I love about Kat's Deli is the sandwiches are delicious, but the thing I hate about it is, you know, it's $26 for one sandwich? Which brings me to my point of New York City is ridiculously expensive for things that shouldn't be that expensive. And it reminded me that you actually moved out of New York City. What was your rationale for that?
Well, you said New York City is expensive, and that's true. And to put it on top of it all, if you're a New York State resident for tax purposes, they'll tax you on top of that as being a resident, and New York City has a income tax as well.
So it's like multiple taxes on top of each other that you don't get any other place.
That's right.
All right, so I just got back from filming, but one thing that kind of freaked me out is when I was coming in the door, it was actually unlocked. And at first I was like, oh my God, did we forget to lock the door? But luckily Louis had unlocked the door because he knew that I was coming home with a lot of stuff and he's inside. But this brings me to my next point, which is apartments and the nightmare that is involving them. You see, the thing is, renting an apartment in New York City is expensive. When most viewers hear that my apartment costs $5,000 a month, trust me, I'm depressed about it too, they say, are you crazy? You know what you could get in Idaho for that? Or why don't you buy? I get your point. And I'm sure Idaho's great, but Idaho doesn't have all the things that you can do in New York. But on the subject of buying, a few years ago, I was interested in buying property, so I interviewed one of my friends who's a real estate agent on YouTube about the process of buying in New York City. I'll link that video below because I can't get into all the details here, but they are fascinating. And I quickly learned that it is impossible to buy a family-sized home that is close to Manhattan unless you have around $1 million minimum to put down at the time of purchase. And so right now, we have to rent. And that actually does have some benefits too. So here's the thing, renting allows us the flexibility to travel the world. Like you see in all of these pictures, Louie and I love to travel. We've actually lived in over 20 countries. I don't know if I ever said that on the channel before, but it's one of our favorite things. But the one thing that I hate about that at the same time is if we have a New York City apartment for rent, then we're on the lease and we still have to pay the rent. But what does give us a peace of mind during times like that is having renter's insurance. If you saw my recent video on crime in New York, then you know that crime is rising. And so we use Lemonade Insurance to keep all of our stuff safe and sound while we're out traveling or out exploring New York. Now, speaking about crime, you see the numbers increasing, which is another negative of living in the city. And that is why we have renter's insurance. And the convenient thing about Lemonade is it only starts at $5 a month. So it was a no-brainer for us, really. I mean, $5 and you could protect all your stuff. All of their claims are paid fast with no paperwork or hassle, and it covers all types of categories such as theft, fire, vandalism, and some water damage, which is actually something we've had to deal with in this apartment. Having Lemonade Insurance gives us a peace of mind when we're out traveling, and it only took minutes to sign up. It was so easy. To get a quick and easy quote with Lemonade, click the link below. And it really helps me out because Lemonade is a big supporter of this channel, and they help my stuff stay safe in New York, which I appreciate. And on the note of keeping our stuff safe while we're out, that goes with traveling, which is my next benefit of living in New York City. We have 3 major airports here, which makes traveling internationally super inexpensive because we can get a direct flight to anywhere. I mean, I can literally see one of the airports from my apartment, but I'm still far enough so I don't hear it, which is a great benefit of this situation. This has also made it super easy for us to see friends and family that maybe don't live in New York City or have moved away. And on the note of friends and family, that's one of the main reasons why we were hesitant to leave here. Not gonna lie, all of our friends and our family members are here, and I just can't imagine Bella growing up without knowing any of them, just so that we can save money on expenses, you know what I mean? So now that you've seen a bit of my internal dilemma, let's summarize on if New York City is worth it or not in 2023. For me, it's where my friends and family are. It's easy to travel the world, there are unlimited things to do here, and Bella has access to great schools, diversity, and amazing hospitals. And then we have the negatives on this side. Number 1, it's extremely expensive. That's definitely the number 1 negative for me and for most people that live here. Number 2, you have to live in a really small space unless you're extremely rich, and then you still have the issue of being very expensive. The subway is not accessible at all with a baby stroller, which is very frustrating and difficult to get around. Crime is increasing, and that is alarming, especially since I'm raising a baby here. So both sides have 4 solid points, and after discussing this at length with Louie, we aren't ready to leave New York yet. We've really thought about it all the time, and this is our home. This is where our friends are, our family. It's so fun here. And until we find a place that we love even more, New York will always be home. And so we expect to stay here until that time. Is New York worth it? Well, it's worth it to me, and it's worth it to the 8.6 million people that live here. And with that, thank you so much for watching. If you are visiting or living in New York City, check out my other videos. They'll help you learn about new cool things to do and help you have your best day ever. I hope to see you soon. Bye.